So thank you everybody for being here today. We will be doing this webinar for the FIFA road closure information session for members. This session will take place for the FIFA that is happening from July 11th to July 19th. And we have Dave Twaddle here from the city and Michael Giles here from ResCon as well. And I will pass it over to Michael to introduce Dave.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be very quick. Dave Twaddle is with the City of Toronto. As we know, there's a lot of stuff coming up with respect to the World Cup this summer. In particular, our interest today focuses on road closures, right-of-ways, all that kind of stuff, and the potential impact for those undertaking construction during this period, particularly, I guess, in the downtown area. So with that, I'll just waste no more time and pass it over to Dave and thank him very much for doing this for us today.
Okay, thanks, Michael. So maybe you can put the slide deck up. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Dave Twaddle. I'm working in mostly in transportation services at the city. I've also been helping out in the FIFA Secretariat a little bit at the city. Been reaching out to some of the stakeholders with respect to this actual work moratorium, that we're proposing. Or that's in place. So I'll just go through the slide deck and I'll take questions at the end if that works for everybody. So you can go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the match schedule today, some of the moratorium areas, some of the other key routes that we're establishing for FIFA, what to expect in the city, and just, it's more not future updates, but more about escalation processes and things like that. Okay, next slide. So some of you may have seen this. There's 6 matches happening in the city, starting on June the 12th. The last one's on July the 2nd. So the first match we're expecting to be a big one with Canada playing one of those 4 teams from it's going to be the subject of a March playoff tournament. So it'll either be one of those 4 teams that are listed there. I think we're expecting if Italy wins, that will be sort of the busiest type of game they might have in the city for the first match. And then we've got 4 other matches, and then the final match is a round of 32 games. So that one also is expected to be pretty exciting because we're going to have likely, I think in that last group, those 2 groups, we've got Portugal, Croatia, England, sort of some of the big teams that are in those 2 groups. So it'll be some of those big teams will be playing in that match. So I guess one of the key things with the match times is we've got generally people either heading to the match during rush hour or leaving the game in rush hour. So just something we had to consider as we looked at the match times once the draw came out in December. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this one shows the different match times, matches, sorry. The dates and when we're going to put road closures into effect on those particular dates around the stadium. So you can see in the pink, that sort of shows the ingress and egress of fans. The soccer ball is the start of the match. The red bar is the duration of the match, and then the blue is the how long the road closures will be in effect in the area of the stadium and FanFest. So those were still working out, but generally speaking, they'll be in that range. Next slide. Okay, so this one shows the stadium local area road closures. So you can see in the red block there on Exhibition Place grounds that's where BMO Field is. It'll be renamed Toronto Stadium for the tournament. And then to the east of Strawn, that green area is historic Fort York, and that's where the Fan Festival is. So on match days, a couple of key things to point out. Strawn will be closed south of East Liberty down to Lakeshore, and Dufferin will also have a closure south of King into the exhibition grounds. And then we're almost 100% now that we're going to be closing Lakeshore completely between Bathurst and British Columbia on match days. So that'll be a pretty big impact for the city. A couple of other things to note. We've got a new Fleet Street transit stop. It's on Fleet Street between Fort York Boulevard and Strawn. So we're putting that in place because on match days, the exhibition loop will only be in service for people who need people who have accessibility issues on the TTC. And so that stop will serve Stadium and FanFest. And you can see the green lines just south of Fort York. That's the Fort York neighborhood, and that will be local traffic only for basically the duration of the tournament. FanFest is we're not we've sort of nailed down the number of days it'll be operating. We're still working on the times, but it's going to be operating for about 22 days during that tournament. And in the Liberty Village area, you can see the orange lines, and that those streets will be well, the whole Liberty Village will be local traffic only on match days. So we'll be managing that with police, trying to keep people that don't need to be on those streets out of there on match days. I think those are sort of the key things on this map. So we can go to the next one. Okay, so this one shows again shows the stadium and FanFest, showing some of the key transit hubs and streetcar lines that we're using. Excuse me, and it shows the key pedestrian routes that we're also using. We're going to be relying heavily on transit to support both Toronto Stadium and FanFest, and so we've also got some walking routes to and from Union. We're also providing 3 areas for bike parking, 3 areas for rideshare, and I think this other one, the purple dotted lines are sort of the bike routes in and out of that area. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so getting into more of the details in terms of impacts for you. So the most impactful days are going to be match day -1, match day +1. So we're expecting a lot of activity in the city on those days, whether it's fan marches, unplanned road closures related to the tournament for celebrations, and also for unplanned marches. We've got the Stadium and Fan Festival road closures that I noted. We've also got a lot of constituent movements around the city for heading to and from the stadium, as well as going to the practice facilities on other days, and just movement around the city for people getting to and from the airport and things like that. Just noting we have operation centers operating for the duration of the tournament, so there will be a couple of different operation centers that are operating at different times depending on what's happening in the city. We'll be monitoring traffic and safety and security issues around the city, as well as working on messaging for people that are traveling within the city and things like that. I'm going to go through the maps now, so maybe we can just go to the next one and I'll go through the maps. So I think everyone may have seen this one. So this is the south area, we're calling it. So basically from Lansdowne over to Sherbourne and from Bloor down to the lake. Sort of one of our key areas of influence or concerns during the tournament. You can go to the next one. This one is in the northwest part of the city in Etobicoke, close to the practice facility. And the next one, that one is Priority Roads, sort of going up to the 401 and some east-west roads as well that we're also want to keep free and clear so we can keep people moving in and around the city. Okay, you can go to the next one. Don't think I need to go through this one really. This is just sort of a broader map of the transit hubs that we're focusing on, so we can move people to and from the stadium by transit. So you can see line 2 there and line 1, Union Station. Exhibition Go is also obviously the right at the stadium, so that'll be heavily used as well. You can go to the next one. So getting into the more details for you. So um, the construction staging areas that are in those works, on those map areas that we just went over. Um, we're looking to place restrictions on the following days. So it's just basically that match day -1, match day and match day +1 window. So you can see for each match, it's just a 3-day window there. Okay, you can go to the next one. So, I know you guys are always working with the work zone coordinators, and a lot of your construction staging areas are, they're permanent, they're in place, they've been approved by council. We know they're not going to be removed for the tournament. So, but what we are asking for is pausing construction deliveries during the 3-day windows that were on the previous slide. Also, any other additional closures that might be required outside of the staging area for other work. We're looking to pause that work between June 11th and July 3rd, which is when the tournament's on. And then construction deliveries, we're looking at a 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. window on days that don't fall within that 3-day window, but still fall within the tournament window. And that last bullet is sort of normal practice for you guys to look at the need for traffic agents, paid duty officers, and things that you would normally work through the work zone coordinator on. Okay, next slide. And this one's just the escalation process. So, I mean, you typically would work with the work zone coordinator. You might go to Nathan Sham if you had some concerns about, what the work zone coordinator was giving you in terms of conditions. And then we've also got a special email address there for escalations. And Nathan would be basically looping me into the discussion to see if there's something we can do to work things out. So that email goes to me basically. So it's not just going to some blanket person, but I have somebody monitoring that one, so helping me a little bit. So, but the questions would come back to me, and I would work through them with Nathan and you. And that's it. Happy to take any questions, comments that you might have.
Perfect. Thank you, Dave. I think we do have a few questions and we've got some time.
Yep.
So just a few starting it off. All right. Um, so why are the closures 3 days for each game? Is that like a FIFA recommendation or is that coming from the city?
It's coming from the city. So, and it's not just the city. I mean, there are some host city requirements in terms of moving people around efficiently in those days, but we're just expecting a lot of activity on those days. We're expecting, quite a bit of activity for like fan marches. There's just going to be more visitors, a lot more pedestrians in the city. So that's the window that we've gone with.
And then we have another question here. So why are deliveries limited to 8:30 to 4:30 for the entire period of the World Cup? Would it not make sense to deliver materials outside of rush hour?
Yeah, that's actually a question I got from a different group. So I'm going to take that back and discuss that with somebody. So I'll be putting together some responses to some of the questions I get. So, but that's certainly one that I've already heard about because I think
Okay.
people were wondering why we couldn't do deliveries like earlier in the morning, right
Yeah.
before 9 a.m. So
Perfect.
I'm
Well,
going
if
to take
you
that back.
do come back with more information, please feel free to share that with us, and then we can get that out to our members as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we have another question here. Has the city considered expanding the noise bylaw to allow builders to complete the work that's going to be impacted? since we are in a housing crisis and all these delays are adding pressure to a market that is down 90%.
Yeah, that's another question that I've received before. So I'm gonna same thing. I haven't been involved in that discussion directly, but
Okay.
I'm gonna see what I can find out.
Okay. And then we have another question here. So it's not practical to remove and reset up hoarding and lane closures. So who's driving these restrictions? And do they understand how the Occupational Health and Safety Acts work? It applies all the time, and hoarding and lane closures keep both public and workers safe.
Yeah, so I think maybe I wasn't clear. So if you have an existing construction staging area set up, then it's, something that's been approved by council and working through the work zone coordinator. It doesn't have to be removed during the World Cup.
Okay, and we just have actually a follow-up question on the deliveries.
Mhm.
Is there any leniency for deliveries that are required just on time? For example, concrete trucks.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing we probably don't want to budge on because we're concerned about the movement of heavy equipment on those days when we've got a lot of people walking around the city and a lot of other activities. So I don't think we'll be able to budge on that one.
And then there's one on the priority routes. So coming from the 401 down, are there any restrictions to the roads and sidewalks permitted?
Yeah, so those routes will be subject to the same work restrictions as so anything in yellow on those maps would be subject to the same restrictions.
Perfect. And then we have another question. I think this is the last one. So how do these restrictions impact continuous pours? We understand that we will not be able to pour concrete on the day of a game, but if the game is set for Friday, does this mean there will be no work on Wednesday at midnight? So Wednesday becomes the third comes into the Thursday. So how does that make sense?
Okay, so let me understand this a bit more. So your
So say they're
continuous, yeah,
pouring concrete Wednesday
mhm,
night and
yeah,
then it goes into like Thursday morning and the game is on Friday.
right. I think we'll have to look at those case by case, to be honest, because I probably can't give you a definitive answer on that without knowing more details about it. So I think you'd have to reach out to probably Nathan on some of those and see if we can work something out
Okay, perfect.
case by case. Yeah.
And then we have another question here actually. Will the city make a decision on night work to compensate for loss of time during these closures?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably similar to the noise bylaw question, right?
Yeah,
Because right now you'd be restricted from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., I think is what I remember. So I can lump those two together, I think, in the same response.
okay, perfect. And then I'm not sure if we have any more questions. We'll just wait a second.
Okay.
But if it's okay, can we also share probably your contact information and then I guess like Nathan's contact information if any of our members have questions in the post-event summary?
Sure. Yep.
Perfect. And then, sorry. So we are sharing this presentation with our members that are in the webinar. That's okay as well. So all
Yep.
the maps and everything will be shared probably by tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds good.
Perfect. And then I think that's it for questions. So I just want to say thank you for taking your time to do this webinar. I know things are a little up in the air still, but once we figure them out a little more, we can share that information with our members as well. So thank you for your time for being here today.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Perfect. So that concludes our webinar for today. If you do have any more questions, always feel free to reach out to myself, Andrew, or ResCon in general. And we are sharing the recording of this presentation and the actual presentation itself in a post-event summary that will be coming out tomorrow. So thank you all for being here today and taking the time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, everyone.